fucking eating them.
Dead, yeah, mate.
Be fucking
But
dead,
also,
mate.
DMP builds, doesn't it? It's like
That's
the
it.
first day.
Over
Anyone
time.
that's taken it, you'll know. The first day, you don't feel it the first day, but like it takes a couple of days for it to build, and then it fucking hits you.
Hey,
DMP,
Chris,
sir.
send me your DMP.
I ain't got none.
Right.
DMP, that's reserved, bro, for Hilly. When he needs it next year, try to take the fat off. Listen, DMP, bro, it's got a 36-hour half-life, yeah? People are idiots, bro. They take it, they start slamming it, bro, yeah? And they just cook themselves. You can't even fix it. You can't
I've
even
never
fix
used
bro.
it, but from what, obviously I'm a nerd, so I do lots of research. But I think the general consensus is if you run it in lower doses, it's super effective.
My meals for years.
Yeah.
And I lost it. And I kid you not. It was a sad day, mate. I was shut up. I was like, what are you even bothered for? But I've used the same glass bowl for ages, the same spoon for ages, and taken everywhere with me. And when I lost it, I was like, I didn't know what to do with myself. I was like,
I eat out of like a washing up bowl, and it's fucked. Like it's got sauce stains, cream and rice stains on it. I'm never gonna bin it. I just fucking keep eating it until it falls to pieces.
Yeah.
When you make cream of rice in a plastic tub, it's better than glass, because in glass it doesn't cool down.
Yeah.
And I find in this it goes a little bit more solid, if you get what I mean.
Well,
The
do you know
ones
what I
in
do?
Asda, they're like 50p a tub, and they're round and they're massive. And do you know what? I'm not even joking about this. Even when they get a cheap meal, I'll still get like a kebab or something. I'll get a tub.
Yeah. Do you know what I do?
Like, oh, you're disgusting. I'll
Mate,
just
do Indian food, mate. I put curry rice, put the naan bread in, and I just chuck all in the bowl.
Dirty bastards.
I throw like 7 or 8 frozen blueberries in my cream of rice as soon as it's made. Mix it up.
Oh yeah,
That just tends to instantly cool it down and give it a little bit of thickness.
Yeah.
I used to find. I remember I used to make the cream rice from Hilly with hardly any water, and I used to put the coconut oil in it, bro. It would turn like that was bad boy, bro. It would just be proper solid, man. Proper nice.
Yeah, I tell you what I found, and it's a way of thickening up your cream of rice on prep, right? So, do you know I keep hype one of cream of rice all the fucking time, right? And I even did it the other night. I had beef and cream of rice, and I'm like 4,000 calories a day, and I still hypo, right? So, AD, do you know Anabolic Designs by Joe Bindy?
Yeah.
He does a fibre supplement, right? And it's a high in soluble fibre. But if you add half a scoop to your cream of rice, it instantly makes however much volume you've got in there thicken right up.
Yeah.
And I don't hypo from it either. But it literally, I can literally take like 100 grams and 80 grams and make it watery. Add this fibre powder and it just thickens up into like a proper paste.
Baking powder really works as well. You put a teaspoon of baking powder in before you microwave it, it goes like real fluffy. So you get like more volume out of it, but it's not like thick, you know what I mean? It's still quite fluffy, so you can just eat through it.
People do that with that protein, don't they? Put in the protein, it makes it like a
mug cake.
like a cake or something. Honestly, I never do shit like that, you know? Or when people like they'll make their cream of rice and then they'll like put it in the fridge, put it in the freezer. I can't be asked for that shit. I make it.
When I'm on prep, I'm a fucking idiot. You've never seen anything like it. Like my post-workout meal, I make it in the morning, I put it in the freezer, I take it with me, and then I eat it at the gym, so it's like ice cream. So it's frozen, and then it starts defrosting. It's like ice cream. It's the biggest treat of the day for me. I love it.
I used to do. Riz that for hips a fucking nightmare, John. By the way, absolute nightmare. Can't hear anything.
Really?
Mate, I can't hear anything at all, kids. Can't hear anything.
I thought it was D in the S3 outside just blowing a dump valve off.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah.
Is that better?
That was better. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to.
What about up to 80 or something?
Yeah, I used to do all sorts of funky shit.
55.
This prep, I didn't do anything at all. I was just like, I was even eating my oats. I was even eating my oats plain just with some.
But it's better. That's why your stomach was flat, bruv.
Yeah.
It's
just that. What I realised over time is the more flavoursome stuff you put in, the just more flavoursome stuff you crave. So I was just like, listen, I'm not having fucking nothing. Forget about it.
But do you know, I remember that in 2019 I prepped here and everything was really dense. And when I started watering shit down and making stuff fluffy, but my midsection went to this shit, bro.
Yeah, because remember, like, people try and volumize food too much, but that expands the stomach. So you kind of get that feeling of you're always hungry because your stomach's always stretched.
Causes bloating as well, man.
Yeah.
And there's a trade-off though, because sometimes if you're 3 or 4 weeks out and you're absolutely starving, right? Sometimes bloating yourself a little bit, if it stops you being hungry, it's not really a bad thing, you see.
Yeah.
As long as you know. So for example, right, say green beans. If you only cook green beans for say a minute, so they're still crunchy, they will fill you up way longer. But they might bloat you a bit. But again, as long as you know not to do that peak week, if that helps you be fuller and it makes you less craving, then there's some sort of merit to that as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially with someone with a small waist. If you ain't got like a like midsection issues or detention issues, like you're fine with it. Like it's not going to ruin your look at all, is it? Like it just.
You see, but I think you should. I think you should enjoy being hungry.
Yeah,
you need to be hungry, fully hungry, starving, dying.
And I do, but some people fucking don't. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I mean when it comes down to somebody saying, "Yeah, I can't do this." Okay, what can we do to help this situation?
Tell them fuck off.
Yeah, man the fuck up.
But there's a trade-off, isn't there? Like I can suffer as much as anyone. It's not an issue. But what I don't like, and I hate it, is that empty stomach feeling going to the gym. And like it's at that point where I would try and do something like that to make it feel like I've got volume in my stomach at least. Like now my pre-workout meal, chug some water just so I've got a bit of volume in my belly. So when I get to the gym, I feel like I've got something there because, and I learned this from, it might have been Sam, which kills me to say it, from like a powerlifting days. Like the reason they eat so close to their competition days is so they have distended stomach, so it braces against their belt better. And like that's something I really take into training. If I eat, because like Riz and that, they eat fucking 7.5 hours before they fucking train. When I train with them, it was torture for me. But like me, I will eat, then go to the gym. And I've got a nice full belly. I can control my midsection. Like it feels better for me.
We literally me and Riz just spoke about this before we got on. And it's, I literally, after one meal, but because it's so early, I'll eat it and in half an hour, 25 minutes, I'm in the gym. Like it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I prefer
I prefer 2 hours minimum.
Yeah, I'll be starving by that.
I'll try to do 3 if I can.
90 minutes to 2 hours for me. If I eat any quicker, I really, because of my slow digestion as well, I just feel like fucking dog shit.
This has changed for me. When I started, Hilly, I was always like you. Remember, I used to say I'd eat mild, but I don't know if my body's become more efficient or if I now understand that it's detrimental to my pumps in the gym. I've noticed that if I eat too far away, I just don't have a good enough session. So if I eat right before I leave, the system's banging.
And that's it. You just learn what works best for you. I've tried eating closer. If I eat close, again, because my stomach doesn't digest things at a normal rate, I feel like I'm going to be sick in the gym. My whole workout is horrendous. Yeah. And so like now, I have 4 slices of sourdough with some jam and a protein shake. I can have that at 90 minutes out and I'm totally fine. But when it's late, it throws my fucking leg day off badly. Really fucking does.
The thing is, if you've got 7 meals, you can't really do that because if you eat 90 minutes and then you go to the gym and you're 2 hours in the gym, and by the time you get back, you've wasted like 4 hours, 5 hours, you know?
Well, what I'll have to do now he's moved it to 7 meals from tomorrow. I'll have to have meal 1 at 6:30 before I take the baby to nursery, or either 8 when I get back. The next one, 10:30, so that I can train at 12. And then what I'll do is that protein shake and applesauce I'll take to the gym with me. So I'll have that at 2:15. Then I'll eat again at 3 when I get home. Yeah. So that's technically 4 meals by 3 o'clock. Then I'll go and get the baby from nursery at 4. I'll eat again at 5. Then I'll eat again at probably 7:38. And then I'll have to do up till 10:30 to get meal 7 in. But I'll get them all in that way.
Yeah.
Well, did it make sense? He just did it in the 6 meals and made each meal a little bit bigger.
Well, he wants 7, I think, because it's a lot of carbs now. That's probably 1,000 grams of carbs. So I think I could probably get it in over, but he does seem to like to go to 7 feeds when you're pushing. And I think because he's brought the Lanrus in,
I was going to say that exactly.
Getting those feeds in over the day is going to produce more. And for me, with my slow digestion as well, really what I should be doing is, and what I probably will do is, I might try and get 3 meals in before I train, because I'm up at 4 o'clock anyway, Anna. So I can go for my walk at 4:30 instead of waiting till 6. I can come back and have my first meal at 5:30, 5:45 before the baby wakes up. Then I can have a meal at 8 o'clock. Then I could eat again at 10:30, 11, and then go train at 12:30. So then I've already had 3 meals in before I've even got the gym eating. So actually, I'll probably try and do that.
In our
Just try
last
and-
push up we did, that was when we went to 7 meals. And just because I'm a creature of habit, it more like from a mental point, it fucked my life. Because I was so used to eating my meals at the exact same time every day, it like just threw my whole day off. It took me weeks to get my head around it, like when I was going to eat it. So in the end, I was just doing it pre-bed. I was coming back just so I went to sleep, then eating the meal.
Well, to be honest, I like to eat just before bed, me. And going back to what you were saying about not having a good session if you don't eat close. If I don't eat close to bed, I feel bad. One of the things for me on prep is, if I'm going to bed, I'll feel sick and it ruins my sleep. So a prime example, my sleep has still only been 5 hours or so, right? But last night, because I had one off the cream of rice, I added some sourdough to my last meal. Just 2 slices, so 45 grams of carbs. I slept last night from 10:30 till 5 o'clock, which is the longest I've slept probably since February, just because I put 50 grams of carbs in pre-bed. I slept better off that than adding the THC. I think
That makes sense as well from a point that carbs are obviously going to spike melatonin, so obviously that makes sense.
Well, not just that as well. Carbs release an amino acid called tryptophan. I think, is it tryptophan? Tryptophan, whatever, and that helps you sleep. So there's that benefit. And again, for me personally, going to bed hungry is just, I'm one of them people that likes to put something in his mouth as I'm walking up the stairs, me. I don't know why it is, but I've always been like it. I would like make a protein mousse, eat it, go to bed. If I eat my meal at 9 o'clock and I'm going to bed, I'm sat here like, what can I eat now? Just before I go upstairs. I don't know what it is with me. It's definitely a psychological thing, but I just like to eat something little before I go straight to bed. And that sourdough last night, and I just slept back. But I told AJ, and he's put some sourdough in every meal before bed now. He's like, listen, he said your sleep's been shocking for ages. He said, if that helps you sleep, like, I didn't even fucking wake. I'm still waking twice a week, twice a night to piss. So because the baby's bedroom upstairs is next to the bathroom, so I can't piss upstairs. So I've got to come downstairs through the kitchen, utility, piss. Then I see my vape, usually have a little go at that, and we'll go back up to bed. So even now, 8 weeks post show, I'll go to bed at 10 o'clock. I'm up at 12, sometimes at 2, and then I'm up at 4. Whereas last night, 2 slices of sourdough, and I just didn't even fucking wake. So AJ was like, listen, that is more important than anything. So we're going to keep that in.
Mate, talking of a midnight vape, when you wake up for a piss, you get in bed, and you hit this fucking thing hard, the head rush puts you out. I'm gone, mate. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, I did that. I got one. I can't remember which one I got, and it was during prep. And then when they're coming down and being like, fuck it, I'm starving here. Next thing I was sat there like, what's going on here?
I used to keep it like right like next to me, but then with that one now, because I'm charging this, I'm charging on the opposite end of the bed, so I can't even get it at night. But now what I've done, because it ran out the other day, so I was like literally like charging it next to me where my phone is and smoking it at the same time. So I've moved it back. So now it's like next to me again. So I need to fucking move it, otherwise I'm smoking it at night.
Yeah.
I never vape midnight, bro. I never have.
Yeah, bullshit, you liar.
I swear, bro, I hate it.
He gets home and starts eating THC gummies, and he's gone back to bed.
Man, fuck off, man. Bro, because once I brush my teeth, man, ain't smoking no vape, man. It gives this weird feeling in your teeth, man.
No, that's not me, bro.
No.
I'm
No,
not
it's
about
not
that
me
life.
either.
I've got to take a last coat before I go to bed. Before I go to
Man,
sleep.
I bong that bedroom out, mate, when I'm watching Rick and Morty. It's just clouds of smoke everywhere. Hey, lads, question. So I had a bit of a weird leg day on... So if I explain, obviously, we've been not pushing too hard at all, but I had my standard routine of an off-plan meal, which was a big one, rolled into a high day, then leg day. Now, during the leg day, it sounds fucking weird, I was just as strong as, if anything, I took PBs. I took a 5.5 plate squat on the heaviest Smith machine in the world, a Watson Smith. But as I was training, it was like my legs wouldn't get full. Does that make sense? You know where they stay like really dry? It feels like you can't get blood in. I can't explain it, but like I've got terrible fucking DOMs now, but fluid was on point. I wasn't flat, but it was just a real alien feeling for me. I'm not fucking used to it. And I could see it, even in my like leggings, because I always wear fucking leggings, they definitely weren't full. It was weird.
That's called, my man's prepping undercover and finding it hard to get the pump from the fullness.
Well, you know, sometimes when they get so pumped, so full of blood, they actually look smaller. Like for me, if I'm going to take a picture of legs, I take it pre-workout rather than post-workout.
Oh, and me always, just because I lose all the detail. But like, even to the point post-workout, they were still very dry. Like, all the detail there was still veiny. It didn't look like they'd been trained. It was just weird. It's not something I normally experience.
You weren't up. That for me would say that there was some sort of dehydration going on.
Yeah, maybe stress.
Because if you were dehydrated and your muscle fibers are dehydrated, you tend to get more DOMs.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So I suppose your potential things there are, did you get enough fluid in with the free meal the day before, not the day of, the day before?
Yeah, I think I would have, but then I've been pretty stressed, I won't lie. I think maybe it could be that, like, sleep's not been great, I've been fucking exhausted. Like, maybe it's a combination of those things. But like I said, I'll always wake up, I'll chug a litre and a half of water whilst I'm doing cardio. I'll have a litre then of water before I even drink, and then I had 2 meals. Then went to the gym, and I'd normally have 3 meals, but I only had 2 meals because I had a big feed the night before on the high day look. So I thought, but then I went to the fucking zoo the day before, so maybe it was a walking around that could have done it as well.
Yeah.
You'd have flattened your legs off.
Yeah,
definitely dehydrated.
A lot of it as well is like hydration, but not just from water standpoint, but actual electrolytes.
Yeah.
So like, let's say if you've had like a massive, like a burger or something, it's a lot of sodium, but then that doesn't balance out.
I didn't, Chuds. I normally go. I homemade food. I had a lot. Don't get me wrong. I made like 2 chicken burgers and some like waffle fries and stuff. But I didn't normally go. I didn't go out from like kebab or Five Guys that I normally would. So I may not have had the sodium in it.
I was just going to say, maybe it's not that you had too much. Maybe it's you just didn't get enough.
Yeah.
Because I tell you what, every leg session I do, I cramp afterwards.
Yeah.
And I really think I need to drastically drive my salt up to the point of, like, I always increase it on leg day anyway. But I actually think, and this is one of the reasons why I put 3 meals before a high day, because what you find on a high day is you sweat more.
Yeah.
And when you're on a high day, whether you're using insulin or not, insulin can cause you to pull more electrolytes and excrete more electrolytes. That's what insulin does.
Yeah.
So you can find you become more dehydrated on a high day anyway if you're not careful. That's why sometimes you see you drop the next day.
Yeah.
So when you're setting it up like this for a leg day, a big, not a greasy, but a big sodium heavy meal.
Yeah.
It's filling you with those electrolytes before you go. So actually, I mean, to be honest, you've probably just created the environment in the zoo. So you're walking about more, you're sweating a bit more, and then your sleep's not good, so your body's not getting a chance to push it all back in, and then your 3 meals being cleaner. Yeah, that's just probably created the environment.
Yeah, maybe I think so. Yeah,
I've got electrolytes up from it as well. Like I like to use that the Conti Sport.
I use that Hydro
electrolyte. It's good. It's good. I especially on a leg day, I'll take 2 servings of it. I'll chuck 1 in my intra workout, and I'll do 1 in my morning drink.
I drink one scoop on wake morning cardio straight away.
Yeah,
and then I do one intra gym as well.
Because I don't necessarily get on too well with cyclic dextrin anymore, I do like the Lucozade intra workout. You know, like the Audi cheaper ones, because they're full of electrolytes as well. So I have those intra. So it's normally they're pretty good. But then I remember I got through my intra workout pretty quickly as well. So I must have been just been thirsty. It could have just been a combination of all those sort of things. But we'll see.
I reckon because your cheat meal wasn't your normal. Normally, obviously, you go out probably get chips and that, right?
Yeah, so we got like I said, we got a proper fancy bougie kebab place up by us where they do like all the legit Lebanese stuff, and that's what I normally go to. You know what I mean? A big one and some chips and stuff. So maybe it was just that.
Yeah, you probably had homemade chips, not deep fried, less fat as well.
Yeah, they're all in air fryer as well. It was all air fried cooked.
Yeah, probably never stuck around.
Yeah, maybe.
Lesson learned: don't eat too clean food.
Well, that was my problem before, wasn't it? I've had that in prep. I was fucking homemade cooking chicken and burgers and fries, and he's like, "What are you doing, mate? Go to fucking McDonald's, you mong."
Get the takeaway now.
I think there's something to. I don't know what they do with them takeaway foods. I don't know if it's just extra chemicals in there or some shit, and your body.
Isn't it a different sodium? I remember Dave Palumbo banging on about this. McDonald's use like a very different, lower quality sodium that really
the muffin seems like.
Yeah. But not just that. What you've got to think about is because all of their foods come frozen, there will be
preservatives.
Well, not just that though. There's probably sodium and stuff added when it's made before it's frozen, so it's got that in it. Then they definitely add. I worked in Mac and E's when I was a kid, for example. They definitely add in sodium to the burgers when they're cooking. All of every condiment.
You do, because I've worked at McDonald's. When they're done, like when I was at 16, they've got this like it's like a seasoning thing, and
Thicker thing,
yeah.
And then they're adding salt to the chips. The chips have probably already got salt in before they're frozen, so you're actually getting probably 6 or 7 servings of sodium in a
loads of it.
takeaways.
Shit ton.
Salt in the bread, salt on the burger, salt on everything, really, ain't it? Yeah.
Which normally spikes someone's weight and you look a bit watery. But the benefits that I'll have the night before a fucking leg day and a high day were actually fantastic.
And you're so right. That didn't happen. I had zero. I was dry as fuck when I woke up in the morning. I was like, this shit's working now. I'm churning. But obviously that's probably what it was.
Yeah. Right, are we just going to surefire questions tonight then?
We've got like 100 questions this time. It's like impossible to answer them all, but I think we should like fire them quick.
Yeah.
Fire them quick, go on then.
Because we're YouTube famous now, boys.
Yeah. Well, I think just title the YouTube video, how many questions can we get through in a fucking podcast?
Let's go.
Ends on 4.
Let's do the ones that like actually got sent through from like people direct rather than the because then we actually get to answer their questions. So we got a good question from Chris Swan, but I think that's going to take a while to answer. Most batshit insane peaking protocol you've ever seen. So
Dave Chudley, go.
Well, I actually said that to him as well. He knows because I've chatted to him about it. Fucking yeah. Mate,
Yeah,
I mean, the shit. Fuck me, it's like fucking stupid.
I've just seen a high day there, and I won't say who it's from yet. There is grapes, bananas, potato.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And then a chicken meal. You eat them every hour. That's about as batshit as it gets for a fucking high day.
Yeah, I think just to summarise, like, it isn't to dig or whatever your coach's name about, even like the Dan Bastick one, I think if you're pushing for 20 pounds on a fucking load during peak week, something's wrong. Like, nobody is 20 pounds flat. Like, it's not fucking happening. We can talk about the intricate variables if we want to, but I think if someone is putting on 25 pounds of scale weight over 2 days, that is a bastard protocol and it's never going to look good.
I tell you something to go and watch if you want to see a crazy peak week running. Go and watch Jimmy Tonks peak week videos, right?
With
a really good one.
Yeah. The amount of intricate detail into that, right, to then actually come in flat. Like at one point, he had to put in 1,400 grams of carbs in a day, right? Now, Milos obviously knows way more than I do. But if you've got someone you've coached for a while, and you've already loaded him, and then you've got to force in 1,400 grams of carbs, then more, with all this shit going on, that's about as batshit as it gets for me, like.
And that was a scary video. Like, it kind of concluded for me why I would never work with one of those coaches. Like, to be one day out and your coach is saying something like, oh, do you like peanut butter? Add some peanut butter. Add some fats if you want, but not too much fats. Add some carbs, but not too many carbs. Like, word for word, that is exactly what he says on a voice note. And that, like, kind of put the nail in the coffin for me. That those...
Yeah, but bro, Chris Acetos are like that with a lot of clients, and he's probably the best coach in the world.
I couldn't work with it because it would scramble my brain. I'm just saying, for me personally, I couldn't do that.
Chris is also the type that messages you fucking daily, right? And he gets you to like, he's like so intricate. So he knows that shit. He knows that you fucking like peanut butter. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh yeah, we haven't tried that all prep, but fucking put it in now. It's not like that, is it?
I tell you what, there was some post going on about Shelby Starnes, who's actually very, very fucking good at what he does. And I do gather he was having people run out that done for like 3 and 4 fucking weeks straight, which is a pretty fucking crazy thing. And to be honest, I personally haven't seen that much crazy shit. But again, I suppose it classes as what is crazy. So for instance, like for mine, and this one with AJ, mine wasn't exactly a straightforward one. I was doing vodka on Friday night with a little quarter of diazide. Then I was doing extra Arimidex, extra Winstrol, vodka for breakfast, vodka in the afternoon, vodka before bed, with Letrozole and Arimidex. That was a pretty fucking pushed fucking peak, to be fair.
I know Ben Chow's got a client around my area, He's been prepping since November. He's a safe guy as well, Ben Chow has had him on short esters for like 8 months. This is a dig, I guess, as well. Man's had him on Winstrol on and off here and there. and the guy's still not stage ready, and he won't give the guy, his client, a fucking time, saying we're going to compete on, September the 17th or whatever. Just keeps hammering him with drugs, and all he's done, in my opinion, is just fucked him.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine what his peaks are going to be like. Do you know what I mean? Man's 24 weeks
It's
out on
so
the winning.
weird, isn't it? Because they portray such a different picture on like the podcast and that sort of stuff. And I think obviously we are all in the know. We're in the circle, so we get the information. I think it's good for the public to understand that 99% of the stuff that you hear on podcasts is bullshit, and the majority of them will push the envelope when they have to.
Everybody is pushing the envelope. Everybody is, yeah. And then I know so many people that I see post things on Jordan's forum or on Instagram and in YouTube videos, and then I end up working with one of their clients, and I'm like, well, fucking hell, that's not what I hear all the time. Just be honest. The fact of the matter is, in this game, anybody look at the win shows at a high level is doing everything they need to win fucking shows. It's like DMP gets such a bad rep here. But there was a podcast I listened to the other day with Matt Jansen and this other very well-known coach that are like, we're huge fans of it. We'll only use it with clients that we trust, which is a sensible decision. But this other guy who's got like 40,000 followers, dead well-known prep coach, he was like, I have most of my guys use it.
Yeah.
And it's like, but then other people would be like, oh, well, I might mention this to a client to take, but don't tell anybody. And it's like, listen, everybody's taking everything they fucking need to. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Do you reckon when they say clients they trust it, they mean it's not the person's going to do, let's take an extra one for keepsake?
Yeah. It's like years ago, I coach him now, actually, he's a local kid. And I said to him, listen, if you're going to do it, right, you can't take more than this many tablets. Now, luckily, the ones he got were fake. Because he was like, Hilly, they're shit them. Like, whoever got them off, I was like, how would you know? He said, well, I took 2 that you said, they were 100 milligram tablets. Didn't feel out. So the next day I went to 4, the next day I went to 6, the next day I was like, yeah, listen, it's a good job they were fake, kid, because you might be fucking 18 now.
Dead, yeah, mate.
Be fucking
But
dead,
also,
mate.
DMP builds, doesn't it? It's like the first day. Anyone that's taken it, you'll know. The first day, you don't feel it the first day, but like it takes a couple of days for it to build, and then it fucking hits you.
Hey, Chris, send me your DMP.
I ain't got none. DMP. That's reserved, bro, for Hilly. Well, he needs the next year. Try to take the fat off. Listen, DMP, bro, it's got a 36-hour half-life. Yeah, people are idiots, bro. They take it, they start slamming it, bro. Yeah, they just cook themselves. You can't even fix it.
I've never used it, but from what, obviously I'm a nerd, so I do lots of research. But I think the general consensus is if you run it in lower doses, it's super effective. Like you don't need to run 100 megs.
I've heard 50, is it micrograms, isn't it?
Yeah,
milligrams.
50 milligrams daily on a long-term basis. I've seen very good results.
Yeah, because it just makes you massive, so hungry. It just makes you fucking ravenous. So that's the issue. The issue is not so much like the side effects. It's more like the fact that it just makes it so difficult for you to stay on your diet.
Bro, it's just difficult to train on it.
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll do a separate podcast on that.
Yeah.
And one of the drug. Maybe just that. Because I've used it not in the doses that you see on fucking online, but I've used it short term, longer term, very low dose, longer term, medium doses, and it's got so many health benefits. And I used to speak to this guy on a private forum. Mate, he was one of these guys that fought like above PhD and shit, like proper clever. He was like, Hilly, I'll tell you now for a fact. You look at the effects that clenbuterol and T3 and ephedrine and all that shit and these pre-workouts have on your heart. He says DMP has no impact on your heart, no impact on your cortisol levels. He says I would take DMP over those drugs all fucking day. He says it's 1,000,000 times more effective at burning fat. Drastically, it is one of the ultimate drugs in improving your insulin sensitivity. And that's a fact. So it has benefit if you're coming for a real big push, say you're 50 pound up, right, and you're fluffy, and you're moving into a health, like a pre-prep phase, a low dose DMP will then is probably the best thing you can do, because you can still keep your food a little bit higher while you pull fat off, and it will drastically improve your insulin resistance. Do you know, especially if you've got on the fluffier side, and then you can use it during prep. We can go into details because there's positives and negatives to it, but
we'll talk about DMP next time.
I actually found it works better when you're fatter. Like at the beginning stages, it actually works a lot better.
I think that's where it's commonplace, isn't it? I think that to get the things moving, I think that's commonplace. But I read an article this is, I think it was in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken, on its ability to destroy cancer cells through vibration and heat. So where cancer cells within the body, the vibration and heat would attack the cancer cell and effectively destroy it or minimize it, so there's no risk.
I think in the 50s or the 60s, it was sold over the counter as a miracle weight loss drug.
Yeah.
And then there was a certain percentage of people that was just too much that got cataracts from it.
Okay.
So they pulled it. And then it was prescribed by this German doctor or some doctor somewhere, and he was giving it to thousands of people all over the world. But, and again, it only gets a bad rep because idiots use it.
Yeah.
So, and like what you were saying, Charlie, it builds up with the dose. And what people do is they do 2 tablets, 4 tablets, 6. They don't even know what's in the tablets anyway. They don't know what's going to happen. By the time they get to day 9, they've got about 20 tablets worth in their body and they're cooking. And you can't fucking stop it.
No.
You can't fix it. You can only fix it by literally jumping in an ice bath and staying in the motherfucker and just hope you don't die. Pray to God.
I've never binged on DNP. Oh. Do you know what? Actually, I think we should do a separate podcast on that. But like, because I got some fucking stories. Because I was a fucking idiot when I was 18 fucking using it. But
right, next question then. Let's go.
Yeah, next question.
A question, it's a bunch of questions from my client Alex. Harsh rebounds like Jimmy Tonks. So harsh rebounds. I'm not sure. I'm not up to speed with what Jimmy's done, so I can't really comment.
So I was speaking to Jimmy the other day in the gym. I think he was up something like 30-something pound in 2 weeks or something ridiculous. Milos likes you to be 50 pound up in 4 weeks or something, right? And Milos has done some freaky things in rebounds. My issue with it is, and Jimmy was saying himself, he felt terrible. And whatever, he's got Pooley now and he's dropped 20 pound in 3 days. So I think people get confused between pushing a rebound aggressively in terms of drugs and then pushing a rebound aggressively in terms of weight. There is no issues if someone wants to put the foot down a little bit in a rebound, but the worst thing you can do is, in my opinion, is let your weight spike too much too fast, because your blood pressure goes through the roof so you feel shit. Then your appetite goes, then your digestion goes, and it's a surefire way to get poorly like Jimmy has, bring it to the sharp end. I've got no issues with someone saying to me, Hilly, listen, let's hit the fucking gear. But you need to control the water, you need to control the body fat and the food. So, I mean, and then it's person dependent. Look at Seb. I posted a picture of Seb yesterday.
Mental.
He's 24 pound up in 3 weeks, right? But look at his body composition.
Yeah.
He's still lean. He's still good. Looks great. He feels good. He sleeps better than ever. 2 of my clients, Stephen and Andy, they are both 20 to 30 pound up after 5, 6, 7 weeks. Well, particularly Andy, but he feels good because his body composition is still good. I think why people make the mistake is be aggressive over 6 weeks. Don't be aggressive over 6 fucking days. Because once that water's on, if you then want to keep pushing, you're just going to feel worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's not even the drugs to do it so much, it's the food. Because once that water goes on, it fucking sticks.
And I've never, throughout the whole of prep, and I was pretty peeled, the worst I'd ever felt was that night after binging. When I was in bed, I remember lying there, mate, my fucking heart rate must have been about 150 beats per minute. I was sweating. I had fucking pools of fluid in my ankles. I remember just lying there. I felt, I'm fucking dead. Like, this ain't working for me. So going back to what Hilly said, I think you can push them aggressively. I think we've all done wonders in our rebounds. And if anything, I think it's been the most effective time I've ever grown is in serious rebound stages. But eating shit is not the right way. Getting clean food very high initially is the right way. And if you can just focus on getting your training stimulus back up by using the food, that's kind of the win-win.
I mean, you've only got to look at my Instagram. This last year or 2 or 3 years, I've got rebounds pretty much. I've got people hiring me just to run their fucking rebounds.
Yeah.
But they're not huge aggressive cycles. 9 times out of 10, fucking enhanced TRT doses. Sometimes there's a bit more, but they're not. Where people get mistaken is they look at week 5 and 6 and they're like, 4, they must have ballooned up straight away. The first week, 10 days isn't a big balloon up like Dex says. The other thing is you've got to be focused on keeping your food clean-ish. Now that doesn't mean being as stupidly clean as I am or I was, but there is a difference between going out like what Dex says he does and going to a nice bougie Lebanese place and getting a chicken wrap and some chips and a garlic bread or a flatbread, or going out and hitting Mackie D's and then grabbing fucking cheesecake and biscuits and shit on the way home. Because it's not even the drugs, it's the fucking food. It is the food and the shit post-show that fucks you. I've done it, Riz has done it, Dex done it, you'll have done it. My first ever show, right, because I had no one guiding me, no one with any information, right, because it was so long ago. And the guy that was prepping me didn't give me any high days or any off-plan meals for fucking 18 weeks, right? So my food focus was through the roof. I didn't use any diuretic for the show, but I had a list of food that I was going to eat after the show, right? And I was even going to see my mate to get stoned so I could get the food in that I wanted. Because I didn't fucking know, do you know what I mean? It was 30 or 40 years ago. After 2 days, I was waking up with nosebleeds. I couldn't fucking see. I'd put like 17 pounds on in 2 days. I had to take Lasix off my dad just to get the fucking water off.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, I agree and disagree because by my own primary research, really, when we did that first show together, when I messaged you at like 10 weeks out, 8 weeks out, I think it's 6 weeks out.
6 weeks out, yeah.
And after that, I go, listen, mate. I go, see, mate. I go, you still want to work with me? He was like, yeah. I was like, all right, I'll holler you next month. I went home, ate everything. I think I was up about 30 pounds. But bro, that year, and then we competed literally 8 months later, and I was up about 7 pounds. I looked marginally better in every single shot. So does it work? I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's person dependent as well. I think
we know it works.
Because that was your kind of like first proper off season, not more like proper like when everything was on point, or
first time I had a proper coach in the off season. Yeah, true.
Yeah. What I mean is, what is the
anagram test?
Yeah, be as aggressive as you can while you keep your health in health. Like Seb there, Seb's 27 pounds up in 3 or 4 weeks, right? That's astronomical. But because his body doesn't hold a shit ton of fat and fluid, he's just if one of us put 30 fucking pound on in 3 weeks,
We would not look like Seb.
we would not.
Because Seb's black, bro.
Yeah, he's got a
Say the truth. Stop lying.
But we would not feel great. He was out for vodkas with his workmates last week. He was out for something the week before. But he's like, he feels good, do you know what I mean? If I whacked 30 pound on in 2 fucking 3 weeks, I'd feel like dog shit, do you know what I mean? And I'd look even worse.
What I would say to the guy that asked the question as well, and like to any of these newbies that are listening to this, enjoy looking good. Like that, I wish I drilled that into my brain because I made a very silly mistake. I booked a photo shoot 6 weeks after my first show. Worst mistake of my fucking life because I went up 30 pounds and I had to rein it back in and I had mad food focus for that whole 6 weeks. Pictures came out good, but if you can get towards the end of your prep and just understand you want to look good, drip the food in so you get a little bit fuller, a little more vascular, just enjoy looking sick, get some photos done, all that sort of shit, so you can reap the rewards from the prep. Don't worry about the food; it's always going to be there.
Yeah,
100%. It's just a taste, isn't it?
Yeah. Next question. Let's go.
right. So
I got a quick one. Hold on 1 second. Dan was going to come on the podcast, but he can't. He said, "Tell Hilly I have just booked Ibiza with Mana for May next year. He'll know." And he goes, "What you do for better RBCs?"
In Ibiza, ketamine.
Yeah.
He said you. He said yesterday you picked out the shows that you're doing next year. It's good.
Yeah, he's got his shows planned. And what Dan's saying there is, so he'd asked about maybe taking cardarine to up his good cholesterol. And what I'd said was I've been taking stuff for like 12, 15 years, right? I have never had to let blood once in my life. Never once. My hemoglobin always sits at the very top of range, but it doesn't matter what I do, recreational, steroids or whatnot, it's never gone higher than that. Last year, because the baby was born, I was living like a monk, right? No partying, all on the bodybuilding lifestyle. And during my cruise, AJ suggested I try cardarine to improve my HDL, right? So we cruised for 8 weeks. I got my blood done at 8 weeks into this cruise on cardarine, and my hemoglobin was up at 183, 13 points over the range, first time ever. And I had to let blood for the first time in my life from using cardarine. And then I've just got my bloods done then, after being, and this is what I was saying to Dan, after being on cycle for 7 months, including the rebound. Then I've just done 4 days in Ibiza getting clean off my nut for 3 nights. Got my blood test and my hemoglobin and hemoglobin 15 points underage.
Mad, isn't it?
I think like a little bit of baby aspirin can go a long way. You know, telmisartan as well. That's always going to keep it in check.
Cardio, just make sure you're fit. Make sure you're cardiovascularly fit.
Yeah.
That's the biggie. The problem, especially with bigger guys like Dan, that's kind of the issue, isn't it? They become kind of immobile as they get a bit heavier. Just make sure you're getting your steps in, doing a bit of cardio in the morning, all that sort of stuff will massively benefit you.
And there's definitely a genetic component, like with all of your bloods. But for me, I just think as long as you're covering your basic bases, like you boys have said, so what I take year round, 20 to 40 mgs of telmisartan, usually just 20. Don't see you need to go high personally because my blood pressure's always fine. Jordan's trained by JP Vital Support, always. I do not think there is a better overall, not because he's my best mate, not because I work with the team, for the value of product, for what you're paying, for what you're getting it, and the quality. I just do not think there is a better product overall, covering everything. And then, as Dex says, being fit and healthy helps. Like, I'm on the stairs on a morning now. I'm 22 pound up, 21 pound up, 8 weeks post show, and I'm doing fucking HIT on the stairs, and my heart rate's not going over 130 beats per minute. So I am still fit, which I do believe will be having a factor as well, without a shadow of a doubt.
I've got a question for you, like, actually, right now. So my heart rate, yeah, because obviously I track it every day and I log it for Martin, yeah. My heart rate sitting here is 92, yeah. My heart rate never ever drops under 85, and when I do cardio, bro, I have to work, bro, to get. You think because my heart rate's high,
it would go higher easier.
I'd get to like 110, 120 easy, bro. I have to fucking run on the treadmill.
I'm exactly the same, Riz. I'm exactly the same.
Bro, 130 for me.
You're actually fit.
Exactly.
Like, you're actually fit, so that's why it doesn't spike up on cardio. But because you're taking Clen and whatever else, that could be causing it to like be spiked up.
Maybe.
I think the other thing is as well is don't forget that the more muscle you carry, the more oxygen your body needs to get back.
I don't even carry that much muscle, bro.
But that's what I was going to say. That's like the logic to it, though, isn't it? Like, ultimately, your heart is pumping more blood around the body to more muscle. You train intensely. You're going to have a lot of oxygen in your blood. Like, your heart effectively should be running higher than the majority of the Gen Pop people, you know? Obviously, I've seen people that say if it's over 90, you're basically going to die, which is utter nonsense. But
bro, honestly, God, I don't think. I said to him, he goes, mate, my heart rate's always high, blood pressure's always bang on, bloods are always good. And he was like, mate, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's fine.
But obviously, I think it's annoying because I'll be doing cardio. I'm like, bro, I actually want to sweat, but I just don't. And I'm like,
I still sweat my tits off in cardio there, bro. I'm like doing Tour de France on that fucking bike at the moment.
I have to push harder than the motherfucker, man.
Next question, go.
Did you guys see what Rob Taylor said on his story? So the question is, why TMU is such a prick? Did you watch?
Hey, fuck off, man. Rob is a G, bro. I like Rob Taylor.
Did you watch his story?
No, I didn't.
Which bit was it?
So where he goes, oh yeah, a load of you are gonna laugh that I didn't play, so like whatever, but at least I'm not going back to my 2-bedroom house or something like that. That's
fair enough.
Hey, that man's fucking that man is the epitome of a grafter. Like I know he fucking rubs people up the wrong way the way he is, but you can't help but fucking feel for him in that situation he's been in at the moment. And like he didn't. So obviously he's just posted, he's deleted it now, so he didn't actually lose. He just didn't turn up. So he went and did the opening rounds and then he just went home. But obviously he's deleted the photos and videos now. But that last video he put up, mate, looked fucking horrific. He's being carried in by 2 300-pound blokes, or out unconscious into his fucking sofa, then put down with an ice pack on his head. Apparently he was losing consciousness for the best part of fucking 6 hours.
I never followed it, so I didn't know what went on. But he just sent me the story, and that was kind of like the
People don't like Rob Taylor, but listen, the guy's self-made, yeah. He looks after his family. He looks after his kids. He's a family man. Looks after his missus. He's a hard-working grafter, bro. I really like him, no matter what he says.
I got some of his clothes. I like Rob.
The dude's fucking tapped. Don't get me wrong, but like you said, he's absolutely tapped. But he's fucking. If there's anyone who's gonna fucking inspire you to go to fucking ass and do cardio, it's gonna be him when he's fucking wired off his tit at 4:30 in the morning, sweating sits on.
4:30, gas mark 10, yeah.
Yeah, not just that though. The man inspires you to work harder. That kid has all his family sorted, built his own fucking house, has a mega gym, drives a mega car, has mint watches, yet he is up at 4 o'clock in the morning, grafting his ass off, no bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, people get inspired for different things. He's not loud about what he has. He's not cruising around in Dubai saying, I've got this and I've got that. Kid's just a fucking grafter. And like, yeah, right, sometimes he does say shit like that, right? But let's be honest.
Everyone does.
He's got the fucking right to.
Fucking right. That's what I'm just going to say. The kid's got the fucking right to. He doesn't brag about what he's got. He doesn't fucking go on as a show off. The kid is, do you know, his fucking beard's on point 24/7. He's dressed on point 24/7. His cardio's done. His time with his family's done. He has fucking smashed life. So then when he gets people commenting shit, and then he's in that situation, he has every fucking right to have a dig. Can't fault the kid.
And these kids that post this stuff have never met him. Like we met him in, and obviously the way he portrays himself on Instagram, I kind of think he's going to be some sort of way. We met him in the Olympia gym in Dubai. Mate, the dude was a fucking lad. He came over, spoke to us as soon as he heard our accents, asked if he wanted to come out on a night out with him in pub afterwards, said he'd meet us in the next day to training. Obviously, we said no because his legs are fucking terrifying and it was leg day. But, like, yeah, he's just a top lad when you meet him as well. I think people just portray a marketable look, I think, sometimes on social media.
Like, do you know why I like him?
Say shit when you're upset after a show, like when it doesn't turn out, you know.
And you know what, mate? He didn't put, and I know he's indirectly digging Callum out, but his first paragraph of that post he put up was saying, "I'm a fucking man. I make my own decisions. I could have said no at any point, but the whole prep was fucked, basically, by that one day."
But you know, Rob Taylor, I bought some of his clothing, right? One of them come a bit dodgy, so I messaged him thinking he won't even reply. Within 30 seconds, voice note, Riz, whatever the problem is, mate, send me it back. Don't worry. Keep it. Give it to your missus. I'll send you another one tomorrow.
Bro, same. I got one of those purple jumpers, and I really liked it, so I ordered the second one. The second one came in a bit like that. Just the quality just weren't the same. I messaged him and I go, the quality ain't the same. He goes, "Oh, I don't know. He just, I'll just send you another one." He didn't even want it back.
Yeah.
And clothing manufacturers, stop steering away from what works. Stick to fucking Gildan and print on it. These stupid fucking Turkish and Chinese clothing you're making are fucking shit.
Yeah, fucking
back to Gildan heavy duty
different
stuff.
sizes.
Yeah, go back to Gildan fucking heavy duty stuff so we can always wear it.
Yeah.
What looks to have happened with Rob is, so Guys Historino's posted about it. He had the same thing and James did. For some people, when you use aldactone, and then if you're in the sun or you've just been on a sunbed, it causes some sort of chemical reaction that causes your skin to have an allergic reaction. And then when you're tanning and stuff, it causes it to burn.
I went down the rabbit hole on this. I was fascinated by it, and I was at it for hours just trying to understand exactly how it happens. But you're right. It basically, there's a chemical reaction from UV light, but it burns the skin from the inside out. So you know, like the top layer, when the UV light and the aldactone mixes effectively, it penetrates the skin and it blisters like from not the top layer, the bottom layer. So that's why it all raises from underneath. So it looks like a fucking 3rd-degree burn.
What? So if you use dyes like it wouldn't happen?
Yeah.
It's specific to aldactone. It is specific to aldactone. It's something in aldactone.
Why? What is it that...
There's another guy, Dan Christian. Do you remember that guy, the 212 guy? He was decent. He's been on that post going mad. And apparently it's the same with some AIs. People can have the same experience from a Rimadex. And apparently it says on the pharmaceutical box in the packaging the exact same thing it says on the aldactone packaging, which is don't expose yourself to UV light because you could have this reaction.
But why would you go? No offense to anyone, right? But why would you go on the sunbed before a show?
No, I think it was natural sun. That's what James Hollins posted as well.
Oh, because everyone's in Spain, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think also, so what you've got to bear in mind is if you go and you say you're in UV light, it's not just affecting you when you're in the light. It's obviously doing something to your skin, yeah. And Robert said he did go on the sunbed on the Tuesday or the Wednesday before the show. But the aldactone didn't come in, I think, until maybe the Friday. But you don't know if the UV light is changing something on the skin, and that's still on the skin. Then when the aldactone's gone in, like, this is drug areas that we don't really know about.
No, exactly.
And probably most fucking doctors don't know about. Because, you know, the fact of the matter is, people taking aldactone are usually older people with blood pressure issues, not people taking all of the sorts of stuff with no body fat.
And ripped, yeah.
And ripped, because what happens is, I think it's all to do with the pH of your skin and the chemicals that sit around your skin.
Yeah.
When you start changing them, it's like a combustion effect. this drug's changed the way your skin is, so then this is hitting it differently.
Yep.
So then it's, do you know when you're at chemistry at school and you're mixing shit together?
Yeah,
It
yeah,
all goes
exactly.
bad.
That's what it is, yeah.
That's
I
the-
bet you couldn't. I bet you couldn't recreate that problem if you tried.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I've got one here.
Yeah. You
go
can
on.
imagine why he's so pissed off, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
Oh,
he was flat anyway, man. Like Callum put a photo up, and that was not the normal Rob Taylor. Because I'm a weirdo, I even went back to when he prepped with Jamie DeRigo. That was like nowhere near the same physique. Like he'd lost a lot of pop, in my opinion. He wasn't anywhere near as full. And then to say that he was 10 pounds up, which this is what blows my mind with Instagram. Like the day of the show, you're saying this is going to be the best Rob Taylor. He's 10 pounds up, but then all this stuff is like going on at the same time. Like, why are you lying? Why are you trying to portray a picture that's not real? You know?
Bro,
Yeah.
a lot of the guys in the pro coach team, other than Zach and Cal, yeah, they don't know what they're doing. Half of them, anyway. A lot of them, they just joined the crew and they're like, "Oh, I'm a pro coach. You're just a shit coach. You couldn't do your own business, so you have to work under some of the
Well,
of the
that thing I
guys."
sent you lot this morning.
Fucking idiots.
That
He's
thing
a
I sent
twat
you
as
lot this
well.
morning on the group.
Yeah, he's the same, bro. He's got no clients of his own. Yeah, he's working under Callum and the pro coach or whatever. Yeah, he's working under Cal, who's a good coach. Zach's a good coach, and all they're doing is living off their clout. They haven't worked hard. They haven't built their own brand. They're just living off someone else's hype, bro.
Imagine that though, taking 4 days to fucking reply to a client. What?
Nah,
Yeah,
mate,
it's just
fuck
an
that.
FYI, pro coach. Like, if you try and punch me up at a show, you will get beat up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've got a question here. So someone was messaging me. I did a video on how nights and stuff can affect your training or different environmental stresses. And he said, what about if you work away and you're always in different gyms, how do you manage to standardise and track progress in the gym? Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
So I've got quite a lot of clients because there's a lot of people in my area that work offshore or work abroad to different places. What I usually do with training, or what I would suggest, is just quickly, for every body part, make sure you've got at least one or two compound movements that are based around dumbbells or barbells. Because it doesn't matter what gym you go to, every gym will have dumbbells and barbells. So then what you would do is, you would use the dumbbell and barbell movement for each body part to track your progress, session to session. And then it doesn't matter what gym you go to, fact of the matter is, a barbell and a barbell dumbbells weights, they're all about the same. So at least in your workout, so say it's legs, you may have, use back, you may have deadlifts and you may have one arm dumbbell rows. You can then track that, doesn't matter what gym you go to, because it's always going to be the same. So you use that as to track your progressive markers, and then the rest you just don't track because you're moving from gym to gym. You just create a failure.
Yeah, listen, fuck that. Once you're advanced enough, you should know when you're progressing anyway. You go to the gym, doesn't matter what machine you're on, you fucking know if you're progressing or not.
That's the thing,
Stupid.
isn't it? Like, and this is, I know we've touched on this so many times, but I'll just regurgitate it again. It's just, the only consistent you need to understand is failure. Like, that's it. And let's just say you have a fancy prime shoulder press at your fancy Ultraflex gym, and then you work away. If you're doing 4 plates on the fancy shoulder press and you're failing at 8 reps, and that's your top set, yeah? Let's say you go on a ship and you've only got a military press. All you need to do is gauge the weight so you're failing the exact same rep range and do it on a bar. Like, it's so simple, and I have no doubt this is limiting so many people because they're trying to use that machine as the consistent and metric when you don't need to. All you need to understand is your muscle just needs to fail at that exact point and then progress. Very easy.
Exactly that.
That's literally all I was just going to say as well. Failure is your goal. As long as you're hitting, like, and I don't do the same. I don't know about you lot, but I don't do the same exercises every fucking session. Sometimes I fancy the hack squat. Next time I want to do the pendulum. But I've been
hammering
that, like, yeah.
I've been hammering a fucking belt squat recently because I just got one in the gym. I love the fucking thing. It's awesome, man.
Wicked.
Everything that's got it, I'm always on it.
Yeah.
Bro, zero knee pain.
Yeah.
I don't know why or how it works. Or
why is that? Do you think it's because, like, I stand really close to the loading point, so I'm like right up front. But do you think where it's pulling your hips down, it's forcing you into like perfect quad flexion?
I think as well, it's because of where the weight is. It's, for me, it's more of a glute and quad exercise. Yeah. It's not more quad focused. And I think because the weight's underneath you, it's pulling your glutes and your hands down. Yeah. And then you've got to drive through your heels. Most people get knee pain because they are pushing through their toes and through their knees.
And because they're
So-
leaning forward as well, isn't it, with the bars?
Whereas,
Well, it could be
with
because
that,
the weight's not on your back, so you're not having to
Yeah,
put it
but
through
it's-
your joints.
well, it's the same thing. Because the weight's on your back, it's almost coming down through your knees and through your feet, so you're pushing back up. Whereas with this, because it's pulling you down, you're able to really, and I really like the belt squat because I can move my feet wider, move it narrower, I can hit more sweep more. I'm a big fan. The only problem I find with it is when I've tried to use it for a main movement, all of the belts dig in my hip
Yeah,
badly.
I still get that bad now to this day.
The belt at Jamie's has an extra piece of cloth on it, so when the chains are on it, it sits on the cloth.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean. It can cut into like the side of your stomach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next
That was
question.
it, lads. Next question, Chuds.
Right. 2 questions. Is the crew all team Pharma GH now? So is all of us using Pharma GH now? Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But because I don't really pay for it, I'm also using generics as well because I love the stuff.
Yeah.
All right, you know what? I'm mixing some generic as well, just because.
I use Gino and the Gen A.
Riz is in one of the first episodes talked about being on anavar for like 20 plus weeks. How did that affect your HDL? I read that to you on the group, didn't I?
That was Hilly knows. So right, just to make it clear, right, that wasn't something that Hilly had prescribed. At the time, my wife wasn't well, so I told Hilly to piss off, and I was doing my own prep. So just to make it clear, I think we were already running that anavar anyway for a few weeks, and then I'd put in 100 mgs of Winnie, 100 mgs of VAR, and I just kept running that. Kept running it the whole way. Then I've chucked a bit of Oxy in as well. But remember, while this was happening, was the most active I was ever in my life. Yeah. Health supplements. I was doing vital support, double dosage. I was doing vitamin C, 4,000 mgs a day. I was doing literally everything. My supplement bill must have been like £500 a month. I was taking vital support, Love Heart, and then taking more citrus bergamot on top separately, more curcumin on top separately.
Taking everything. You're taking everything.
Every fucking thing. And my blood's come back the best they ever come back in years. And trust me, we had a good rebound that time as well.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think I'm quite good when I don't drink alcohol, any of that, or do any of the recreational drugs. So, other things are quite good.
We obviously, me and Riz worked together for like fucking 6, 7, 8 years, whatever it was. So we've had loads of blood work done. Riz's cholesterol always seemed to be better than mine, or seemed to hold up well. Whereas his liver, considering he doesn't drink or anything, Riz's liver seemed to get stressed easier.
Yeah.
Whereas for instance, my liver there, I've just been on that rebound, that cycle for 7 months. I was running anavar probably for 25 weeks at 25 to 50 mg. I was taking 100 mg of Winnie into the show. I was doing Arimidex, Letrozole, Proviron up to 125 mg. There was a lot of orals going through my body, right? Then into the rebound, I was still using some Clebutol, still using Arimidex, still using anavar, and I kept 10 mg of Superdrol in pre-workout for 3 sessions. Then I went to Ibiza and drank and other stuff for 3 days hard, and I'm talking 3 hours sleep a day for 3 days, right? My ALT was 67.
Yeah, smash, isn't it?
I've seen natural. I must look at 3 to 5 people's blood work every week doing reviews, right? I've seen naturals with higher ALT than mine is from taking paracetamol. So, but I've also had 2 doctors specifically say to me, "You are genetically built to handle drugs." Yes, and that's just, and that is. But on the flip side, I've got a torn pec, slip discs, and a fucked stomach. So I'm obviously genetically built to do drugs, but not genetically fucking well up to handle food.
Also, like, water is a big factor, right?
Yep.
So many people, they don't drink water. And you're like, well, drink fucking water. Like, hydration and actually just drinking water is one of the best things you can do for your liver.
Just for health and well-being, like, just drink water. Stop being a child. Stay hydrated.
And not just that, food choices as well and stuff like that. And I think this goes a long way. So I got to Ibiza. I had 3 meals a day delivered. I took protein powder with me. I didn't eat any shit while I was there. I was in Ocean Beach drinking mango daiquiris, shotting Jaeger bombs, and eating fucking sushi, right? Then I maybe got 1 slice of pizza. I had my 3 meal preps a day. I took all my vital support, my Love Heart, my heart care. I took all that Ibiza with me. I took fucking Riz's salt shaker with me, so I knew I was getting enough sodium while I was there. I took an electrolyte powder, so I was getting electrolytes. I've stocked my fridge full of water. I was drinking at least 5 litres of water a day. I was getting big bottles of water and necking it when I was going from club to club. So even though I was partying hard, I was still eating clean food. I was still hydrated. And I think that, as Dex says, staying on top of the fucking basics all of the time, it has as much merit as taking the best health supplements.
Yeah.
It's the good quality health supplements, as Riz has just proven, goes a long way. But there's no point in taking the best health supplements, the best Pharma GH, or the best anything else if you ain't doing the fucking basics. If you're not drinking enough fucking fluid, as Deck rightly says, you're up shit creek because you can't digest stuff properly, you can't assimilate the nutrients, the supplements you're taking. If you're not getting enough sodium and stuff, your body is dehydrated, same thing, you're struggling. If you go to Ibiza, right, and party, and you eat shit and drink beer from the moment you get in the fucking airport to the moment you better come home, you're going to be dehydrated. You're going to feel like shit. Your body's poisoned, right? Yes, I was drinking vodka and Jägermeister. And yeah, I was drinking cocktails. But I was eating good food. I was hydrated.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of positive stuff going in my body on top of some of the negatives. Do you know what I mean? So for me, exactly as you boys says, there is so much importance to the basic shit that you're doing day on day before anything else.
Yeah.
Big facts.
I think, do you know, sometimes when you do your blood pressure, right, what's it called when you, it happens to people where you overthink it, and as soon as you...
White coat syndrome.
You know, that obviously is a true thing, yeah?
Yeah.
Because every time I jump on the motherfucker, I would automatically rock it up. I bought 3 machines thinking they're all fake, they're all fucking shit, yeah? It was the same. One day I just did it while I was just chilling, and it was perfectly fine. I actually think some people are so paranoid about their blood work, yeah? They go give bloods, and I swear, I don't know if it's just a mind over matter thing, and they make this sound worse just with stress. Don't stress. I think stress destroys people, bro. Stress destroys everything, bro, in your body, bro. Even the drugs won't save you.
That's a good point. That's a really good point about the blood pressure cuff, because it's like you put it on and you like your heart rate starts pounding because you're like, is it going to be high?
Hey, I had a worst period of my life due to this. So when I was a little bit younger, I think I was around 18, 19, I was prescribed blood pressure meds because my blood pressure was through the roof, and it was bad. It was reading like 180 over 127 day in, day out without fail. So I kept doing it, and I was going into the hospital and they were checking it and it was still looking bad. But the ADHD medication I take is an epinephrine, and it makes you tremble. And it's such a slight tremble, you can't see it. But what was happening, obviously, when they put the cuff on, it would increase how much I would tremble. So this whole period of time I was going through it with daft high blood pressure on medication, so that my blood pressure was actually hemorrhaging. When I stopped the ADHD medication, dropped off a cliff, and my blood pressure was absolutely fine every time. Fucking crazy.
Mental, innit?
Yeah.
Mental.
So many variables can cause things to look skew-if.
Lanrus versus Levemir.
Lanrus is king, mate.
Lanrus is king, yeah. Yeah, different peak times. Different peak
It's
times.
the only one that releases more IGF-1 or some bollocks.
It's the only one that does it, yeah.
Yeah, Lanrus has the ability to increase IGF levels, and it's the only one that does. So that would always be our preference. Levemir, I think they both claim to be 24-hour insulins, but they both are only really 12 to 14. But Lanrus is the one that potentially has an effect on IGF, which obviously is something we all want. So Lanrus is the one that everybody chooses in bodybuilding. There is another one that's come out. So my man was getting there's one called Traceba.
Yes.
Which is a true 24-hour one. Now, it doesn't really seem to have been used in bodybuilding, which interests me, because all of these people that are only using Lanrus to control their blood glucose, surely, if you're not using it as a muscle builder or a partitioning nutrient thing, if you're just using it to control blood glucose, as you say, then why isn't your ass using the most new, cleverest one that is a true 24-hour one?
Yeah.
Like, and it's this is what, like, were you using insulin, and we should do maybe a podcast on this as well, were you using insulin really to increase nutrient uptake so we recover better and therefore build more muscle? Were you using it to supercompensate our muscles? Because if we use fast or slow, we have the ability to store more glycogen. More glycogen means more nutrients within the muscle, means we can perform better, therefore means we can build more muscle potentially better. And then with Lanrus, it also boosts IGF. So we're using insulin to improve performance and improve muscle building through different pathways. Yet you've got loads of people saying they're just using it to relieve stress from the pancreas. Well, if that's what you're doing, then why aren't you using Tresiba? Because
if you're using Lanrus, only the pancreas not being stressed for 12 hours in reality.
Correct.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right. Really good one. How would you escalate from a 300 milligram cruise to a peak dose of 2 grams? I've been a heavy primo user, but I'm open to higher test and EQ. MPP gives me issues.
Snap.
So you're saying he's a high dosage a primo user?
He's basically trying to get us to map out a pathway to go from 300 megs up to 2,000 milligrams using potential other drugs.
I mean, first of all, like a 300 meg cruise, if that's just test, a 300 meg cruise, that's quite high, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, you're not on cruise blood. That is 100% on blast still, but yeah, we'll go with it.
No, that's what we call sports TRT.
That's Hilly TRT plus.
So he could be on 150 test, 150 primo, because a lot of people do that. You know, he doesn't specify, but if that's just test, that's too high for just a cruise.
It's a really hard question to answer, obviously, because it's such a fucking shit thing to say, isn't it? Because we don't know him. But ultimately, if he wants to go down the route of higher testosterone and he's listened to any of our content, he knows every single one of us are going to favor the combination of testosterone and EQ as one. So effectively a 2-to-1 ratio. But like I said, I wouldn't lump all that in at one. I would do like a 4 to 6 week increments with food and just slowly increase it up to that total load of 2,000 milligrams. But then if it was me personally, I would do get up to 1,000 milligrams of test, potentially 500 milligram of EQ. And then I would use something like primobolan for the nitrogen retention, it may be 300 megs, and that puts him at 2 grams.
You see, I think if he's a high primo, let's just say hypothetically, he said he's a high primo user, yeah? So he's done 1.5 gram of primo before and 500 test. I would say simply, bro, listen, keep your test to where it was and use another compound, but use half the amount you would use the primo.
Yeah.
You probably get more bang for your buck anyway.
Yeah.
So use half the amount of the... So if you were using a gram of primo, use half a gram of EQ, you probably get the same bang for your buck anyway.
Most definitely, especially in terms of look in training performance.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So do you have to really use 2 grams when you can just use better drugs?
Not use the EQ. You might just want to start on test, bring in the EQ, see how you get
absolutely.
on with that.
Yeah.
And then maybe add a Mastron or a Primo, and then maybe potentially for the last bit add, because he says he's got issues with MPP, maybe try like 100 mega trend.
Well,
that would be my go-to, but yeah.
Loves the treadmill.
If it was me, I would instantly just say, right, your first step, take your test to 600, bring in 300 EQ. So you've got 900 meg, right? Give that 6 weeks, get your bloods done. That then tells you how your bloods look on the ratio of 2 tests, so the 600 test to 300 EQ. That will then let you know where you need to keep the EQ as you drive the test up. In that cycle, your test is your main builder. So what you were then trying to do with the 2 gram is use as much test as you can of that 2 gram with just enough equipoise to make sure that your estrogen is at a point, not in range, where you get no sides. That's exactly where you want to be. So that might mean Dec might want 1,200 to 800. It might mean Chudley wants 1 gram to 1 gram. It might mean Triz wants 1,500 to 500. It'll be different, but you need your blood work. What you're trying to do is, in that situation, get as much test as you can with enough equipoise to control any sides. That's where you want to be for me. That's, if you're trying to build muscle, it's the testosterone in that cycle that is the main driver. The equipoise is then controlling any initial sides, any main sides, and then it's giving you a bit more red blood cells so you perform better in the gym, you get more. So,
like you said, Chuds, that's my go-to cycle. What you mentioned at the end, then it would be a very low dose primo combined with the EQ and test at 1 gram and 500 megs, and then I would use that 200 megs for trend, but I would only go to 100 to 150 megs specifically in the off-season setting. You'll reap loads of benefit from that in the off-season setting.
That's pretty much all I've done for the last year and a half.
Yeah.
That's worked really well. So, So if he doesn't get on with MPP, then would you put Trent in that place?
Potentially, yeah.
Like we said before, I just try to cover all pathways and like pick out the benefits from each compound that I can use, and then play with the dosages to where it suits the person. Even from a cost perspective, Primo's really expensive. You may want to up the test to 1,200 and pull the Primo down to 200. You know.
I think we often forget how useful the auras can be in off-season too. I think everyone's always like, "Oh, I've got to choose the oils and all the injectables." But in essence, you could really use, if you use 50 mgs of T-ball a day, that's 350 load there a week, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
You could make the load from somewhere else.
I was watching that last Dennis James podcast recently. It's a fucking brilliant one. It was the only time that Flex Wheeler and Chris have been honest about their drug use, because they normally lie. I don't know why they were being very open, but they were talking about their dosages of Anadrol and stuff, and they were running 250 megs of Anadrol a day. One of the guys worked up to 10 Anadrols a day, and then they were talking about what's the site enhancer they use pre-show?
Nolotol.
No, no, the other one, the one that's
Escaline.
Somebody walked into Chris's hotel room, and he had 21 syringes lined up full of Escaline, ready to pin every muscle group.
Do you reckon that's not illegal, is it?
No.
I'm gonna get that made up on turbo on it.
I spoke to the guy that I know, he's a bit of a science boffin, and he reckons he can get hold of something similar.
When I was speaking to Matt Tofton,
I remember Dan got some last year because we were talking about it. I mean, maybe try and find out where he got
that.
That
was Nolotol, wasn't it?
I'll kill Dan for it.
Well, yeah, but it's the same thing, isn't it?
It's not.
There's no Escaline anymore, is it?
No, Escaline was the best formula because it was basically pip-free, bro.
Didn't they stop that now? Like, you can't get that anymore?
No, the guy who made it died.
Right, okay.
Because Escaline was a site filler. Like, it filled the muscle out with fluid, effectively, or oil. What Nolotol does, it inflames the muscle. I've watched a YouTube video of putting Nolotol into like cows' legs. It's fucking disgusting what it does, mate. It's horrible. It like hardens the muscle until it's to a swelling point. It peak swelling, so how big it's been before, and it just hardens.
Fucking hell.
Not nice.
Escaline, bruv. There is. I was speaking to Matt Tofton, and he was like, "There is the chemical formula somewhere. It's about getting that formula right and getting that formula to sit." Because I'm sure somebody out there, bro. Come on, man. Manza made the COVID vaccine in about fucking 3 months. Sure, they can make that.
Yeah.
Sure, Dr. Dean can make Escaline. He knows everything. him and Hilly combined, try it on JP together.
That should be the next engineered product.
Escaline.
Yeah,
imagine it.
I'd be rich.
Fuck me, you will, bro. We'd be jacked.
Say no more. I'll ring my guy after this. Chudley will ring him.
Next question.
How would you design a stack coming off a 200-100 test mast cruise, hold into a 4 to 6 week minute cut, then push up into a growth phase, peaking out 700 milligrams? That's almost like the same question.
Bro, this question is so complex. Please hire somebody here. We will do that for you. Okay, just pay for that one, bro.
That's the question we just answered, really, kind of.
Yeah, literally identical.
Right. Let's see. We've got like 100 questions. I'm trying to like pick all the good the decent. Have you seen definite improvements in blood work from treating sleep apnea with a CPAP?
1,000,000%, 100%. Blood pressure dropped drastically.
Yeah. Is that?
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, just general performance. Blood pressure's down. General performance in the gym, like I've mentioned many times. I think I put on 7 pounds in 2 weeks. That a single change to drugs or food. It makes a big difference to general well-being, even to the point now because of baby. You forget how important sleep is. Like I don't know how these kids, these like gamers, survive on like 4 or 5 hours a night. Like I'm fucking broken. Like I have to nap now mid-there, or I can't get to the gym. I mean, look at Hilly. Look.
I've seen 2 clients, hemocrat, hemoglobin, kidney markers all improve from moving to a sleep app and improving their sleep. For the reasons Nick says, it's all interlinked. It's all linked.
Right. When do you find that supplementing with T4 is necessary? When do you find supplementing with T4 is necessary, if ever? while running GH in the off season. So when would you use T4?
When you're just trying to optimize, that's all T4 is doing, is optimizing thyroid. That's all it is. If you're trying to look, Hilly's put it in multiple times with me. I've never really noticed any real difference, to be honest. And that's anecdotally. That's not looking at bloods. Just I've never seen an improvement in like body comp. I feel like food's going away better, anything like that. I just think if you're just trying to optimize your own thyroid in potential where you're dieting or pushing, that's where it can come into its own because it converts to T3.
I think using it year round makes sense.
Yeah.
For me, so we know T4 converts to T3. Everybody has a different ratio of how much T4 they'll convert to T3. So technically, you should only really supplement with T4 if your blood work shows your T4 is low. However, in general, 100 micrograms of T4 tends to put people at the very top end of normal range, and it will not shut your thyroid down at all. So it's like almost like a safety measure for me. If we all know that having a slightly higher level of T3 is beneficial for protein turnover, for overall metabolism and for digesting food, both in and out of prep, and if we know that there is one tablet we can take there that will likely improve your T3 number with having no real negative impacts on top of some other mechanisms, why would you not take it? For me.
The way that I look at it is, you jab yourself every few days to stay on TRT. You jab your GH every day. You jab your Slin every day. T4 and T3 is just like tic tac. Just eat it, bro. You know what I mean? Just crack along, crack on.
Hilly, what are your thoughts in T3 in the off season? I know it's pretty common in America, obviously, like you said, for protein synthesis increase. So have you implemented that with anyone in the off season just to keep things turning over when food's higher?
I did it.
I was just going to ask that exact same question because he's just put it in for me. So
I did it with Hilly as my best off season.
So Scott Stevenson had me do it. He had me run 25 micrograms year round. So the argument is keeping your T3 levels at the top sort of normal range then allows you better protein turnover, better metabolism, and the people that I see stay leaner naturally have higher levels of T3.
Yep.
Seb is always naturally high in T3, but obviously it means that you then need to eat more. Now, what I noticed myself is I ended up pulling it out, and 100 micrograms of T4 actually give me a better T3 reading than 25 micrograms of T3. So I personally don't need it. And you can argue for and against it. I don't like someone running it all of the time, but I do think for someone coming out of prep where it may be low. So for instance, my numbers at the moment are low. My T3 is 3.6 or 3.8. So arguably it would be good for me to add in now. So there's benefits and negatives.
Deck, I used it for a very long time off season in prep here because we were in prep, come out of prep, and I go, hey, do you know what? I just want to keep it in. He goes, well, it's your choice. And I was like, yeah, just keep it in. And it was the best I ever grew, bro. The leanest I ever stayed. My only issue with it was because I've got such fast bowel transit, yeah, it was increasing my bowel movement way too much, bro. Then we had to pull it out. Like, especially deep off season, bro. I was going to it like 6 times a day, man. And it wasn't even the shit. Not good.
So, like, take me, for example. Like, obviously, 100 T4 and 25 T3. Why are we doing 25 T3 alongside the T4? And will that get pulled out at some point, potentially, or will that stay in?
So I've just looked at your plan there. So on your current drugs, you said you were using it. So I've kept it in because as we are moving, because you weren't feeling good at the time and you're already using it, if we pull it out, you will go through a period of low T3, which we don't want to do at the moment. And we're going into a fat loss phase. So the last thing we want to do in the fat loss phase is then end up with low T3 because you need to be in a calorie surplus to help bring your T3 levels back. So we've kept it in because you were already on it and we don't want that 3 to 5 week low. So then what we will likely do is pull it out as we will get your cut done. We'll keep it in probably for the first part of the rebound growth phase. And then once food is in a good place, once we know body comp is stable, then we'll pull it out and see what happens.
Right. You see, a lot of people, they think that when you take T4 and T3, it never comes back on. I was on it for...
Mate, it comes quick.
Oh, it comes back straight away, doesn't it?
For about 2 years, yeah. And then when I joined Martin goes, we're pulling it out. We used to use that supplement needs thyroid stack for 4 weeks, had blood done, my T3 and T4 back to normal.
There was a medical study done years ago where they misdiagnosed like hundreds of people. They give them the wrong drug and they give them T3. And I think 98, and they were on it for like 2 years. And I think 98% bounced back within 4 or 5 weeks or something. The thyroid's very versatile.
I've got a question here. On the next podcast, can you discuss injections and how to stop getting big hard lumps? Be great to hear some advice on it from you guys.
Shit gear.
Use better gear.
Use better gear would be my instance.
Use better gear.
If you're putting 3 mil into a small site, what the fuck do you expect, you know? But even then, because I've put 3 mil into my delt and it's you know.
Do you know what I'm seeing? Sorry, go on, Riz.
Use better gear. Warm your gear up is a very important thing, I think.
I agree.
If you can't change labs, so you're using a different oil, you might be using grapeseed, maybe try MCT, maybe try canola, maybe try one of them oils, yeah? And on top of that, I find that the length of your needle, because if I use a 1 inch, I get pain. If I use a 5/8, I get 0 pip, which is very weird. I don't understand why, but I use a 5/8 everywhere, even in my glute.
So you want it not as deep, right?
That's for me. For 99% of people, I'm sure you'd be better off using a deeper needle because you want it deeper in the tissue.
Something I've seen a lot of lately, because it's becoming trendy again to use insulin pins for jabs, is a lot of people don't understand that you still need to push it quite far in when you're doing it. And I am seeing loads of people posting things where they have got pain, swelling issues because they don't understand jabbing with an insulin pin and they're not getting in deep enough. I believe, who have I just seen in hospital there? That's Sheridan. Sheridan's in hospital because he did a jab with an insulin pin and hasn't gone deep enough.
I mean, I always use insulin pins, but like Riz says, obviously I pin daily, so it's extremely small volumes. I do use the little ones, but I'm not fat, and I pin in very lean areas like my lats, pecs, quads. In the other side, the biggest change for me was just heating up the oil, and I know people do it a bit differently, but I'll backload the slim pin with my oil, which is around, it's fuck all basically, like 0.3 mil or whatever, and then I boil the kettle, put it in a cup, and I drop the slim pin in there so it heats up for a little bit. And then I pin it when it's quite hot. I can feel it's quite hot, the oil is, but then obviously I have no like clogging of the oil to it, just seeps in nicely. The only other side of it for that guy as well is using the alcohol wipes. If you're using the alcohol wipes straight away and then pinning straight afterwards, people can get a big reaction from them because the alcohol seeps into the injection site.
You're almost pushing it in with the needle, aren't you?
Yeah.
I've not used alcohol wipe for about 6 years. That man had hardly any problems. So
I got like 7,000 of them downstairs.
Yeah, but I just
the bottom line of this question is change your gear and see if that makes a difference.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Lads,